Baba TC Ataturk is going to love this new update. Ottoman Empire, Turkish, and Baba is Turkish. What is up, rockers? Welcome back here to another Rise of Kingdoms content. Today, we're gonna be seeing two new commander, Honda Tadakatsu and Suleiman I. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing all these names correctly. Two new commanders, very interesting. One is going to be leadership, versatile, and skill. So what we know about this is definitely going to be a very good open field commander. And then this one is going to be a conquering base commander. So, of course, it is going to be really used for rallying. Now, Rise of Kingdoms have released commanders. They're not always the best, right? There are commanders in here that they have released that are not that great. But are these two commanders really good? And what is it going to be for the next meta of Rise of Kingdoms? Guys, my name is Shinchi42. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turn your notification on. Looking at Honda Tadakatsu in here, we're seeing deal direct damage up to 3 targets, an AoE commander, damage factor of 1500 or 750 as a secondary commander. So we know that this has to be a primary commander. Damage dealt to each target is reduced. As we know, this is typical. So this is a commander that you want to make sure that is a primary commander because you don't want to be losing on all of that damage. Troops led by this commander gain 2% increased marching speed. Interesting for leadership. An extra 3% attack plus 10% when attacking troops. Woo, that is interesting. So attack bonus 10%, and extra attack is increased at 30% at the max level. That's actually interesting because I guess if you're attacking just barbs, then you get 10% attack bonus. And you're not going to get that extra 30%. But then if you're attacking, PvP, then you're getting that 30% plus 10%. It's very interesting. Let me know what you think. Samurai among samurai. Troops led by this commander take 1% reduced damage. Okay. When I was reading all this ability from this guy, what I saw is like a lot of tank ability from this commander. All right, since it's a versatile, right, it makes kind of sense. So an active skilled cast will cause a target to suffer damage over time, and that's going to be at a 200 damage factor over time, and a 20% reduced marching speed, and 20% reduced marching speed for 2 seconds. This effect can trigger at most once every 5 seconds. So very interesting, very versatile ability, really. You have that tank ability, then you have a debuff, which is the marching speed reduction. Quite interesting. I don't know how I feel about this commander yet. Tokugawa. Okay, so fourth skill in here, troop led by this commander gain 2% increase, actually 10% increased troop capacity. All right, deals 1% or 5% with 2 or more different types of units. So this is going to be a mixed unit. Very interesting. I'm not sure this is going to work out really well. Increased skill damage per 8% unit loss. So as you're losing units, you're gaining skill damage. Very interesting. The skill damage bonus cannot exceed 60%. But then if your troops count is low, your damage technically goes lower. Basically, you're not really, I guess it's not bad because you're still getting extra damage while you're like lower troops. But then if you're lower troops, right, you'll get, your defense, everything, your HP is lower. So you get knocked out. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this. Very interesting, but I'm not kind of big fan of this skill that I'm reading. First, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, very interesting. I look at some of the skills, but like now that I'm looking into it, not so sure about this commander. Triplet by this commander, take 30% reduced damage from normal attack on the map. Okay. This effect can trigger 57 times per hour after leaving your city. Very interesting. But if you're going in a battlefield, right, it can trigger 57 times per hour. I mean, in one solid battle report, I think this would have been like your limit would have probably be gone. Like if you're fighting in the open field and there's like KVK in a swarm. Now, a few things that I see that would be great with Honda Tadakatsu is definitely this primary skill. I mean, it's 2500, it's pretty huge. And then, you know, you kind of tanky, but honestly, I feel like if you're looking for something that has a high damage, you would have rather go for like, you know, just go invest on this commander, Guan Yu. I mean, you're getting, you know, 2000 damage factor plus you're silencing your opponent. I feel like, you know, I feel like that would be much better than going for Honda. I mean, just why don't you just go for Toyota instead, right? So I'm not like super sold with Honda, but you know, we're gonna have to look at the other commander as well, so we can determine if, you know, the synergy of these two commanders. Maybe you guys here that are watching can, you know, have a better debate for me if you like Honda Tadakatsu or Tonkatsu or whatever it is. But let's go and read Suleiman. All right, Suleiman deals direct damage to the target. That's 1300 when the target has less than 50 rage. Okay. Decreases their defense by 10% and health by 10% for 2 seconds. So defense reduced by 30% and enemy health reduced by 30% max level. So this is very interesting because it says here when the target has less than 50% rage. So imagine, right, you're battling with these commanders that cast rage so quickly, right? Then they will be also going into that, you know, lower than 50% rage faster, right? Because they're going to cast it, they're going to consume it much faster. So they're going to go through that cycle much faster. That's one issue that I can think of. Or maybe if they are slow casting like Edward, right? You have a higher rage engine to build up. We have to think about this in a situation when this thing casts as well. It has to be in the timing. Can that timing really work well, right? When we do one-on-one testing, you will see that it's relatively in the same rate in the beginning, but then it changes as the accumulation of the talent and the skills. So this may be very interesting in a war when there's so many clutter, so many swarms in there, and then you're actually casting this. So the best thing that you can do with this Suleiman is actually pair it up with a commander that has a very good rage regeneration. So let's just talk about it for simplicity. Perhaps a Zone 2, which when it casts, you know, AoE, it gains more rage. So something like that definitely have more chance on trying to hit the enemy's defense and health being reduced. So second skill in your troops led by this commander will gain 15% attack. Whoo, that's huge. And 15% defense. Wow, that's passive. Damage taken from all sources is reduced by 10% outside of alliance territory. Woo, that's quite interesting. Solid attack, solid defense, and tank ability. Interesting, because when you're rallying, right, you're outside. So third skill in here. Attack have a 10% chance of reducing the normal attack damage of the target troop by 20%. That is huge. And their skill damage by 20% for 3 seconds when attacking cities and stronghold. Cooldown of 5 seconds. Now, this is a passive skill, so it's a trigger chance. Ooh. I feel like this is going to be legit. This is actually really nice. I like this skill. Imagine that, man, when you're trying to rally somebody's city, or maybe you're just rallying the flag. Oh my goodness. It's tanky. I mean, you have a tanky ability in here as well. Very tanky setup, actually. Very tanky commander, honestly, in my opinion. Skill damage reduction as well. Wow. So, Yanisari. Oh, we've seen this word before. Troops led by this commander deal 1% increased normal attack damage if at least 2 different types of units are present. Troops also gain 20% increased skill damage for 3 seconds upon suffering skill damage. 5 seconds. Okay. So again, with the condition of 2 types of units, I guess it's part of the leadership. That's what it is. So increase by 5% normal attack damage, and then you also get 50% skill bonus, which is huge. I think with this setup, yeah, you gotta pair it up with this guy, with Honda. It has to be a pair with Honda. Don't go for the Toyota. So, Master of Europe, when this commander has over 70% rage, normal attack by troops led by this commander inflict additional skill damage to the target, but grants the target extra 50 rage. See, this is what I was talking about. This is kind of like trying to get that commander to cast more, so that when it casts, it's kind of like getting it back to 0 right away, right? So getting it back to lower than 50% right away. Very interesting. I think Honda by itself is not really that great, but I think to pair it up with Suleiman is really good. But Honda has to be the primary, as we have discussed this. So if Honda was primary, you have Suleiman secondary. You get this bonus, right? You get the skill damage bonus of 50%, which is huge. One thing that I noticed here also is that 50% skill damage for 3 seconds upon suffering skill damage. So it has a synergy here with this one, giving the opponent extra rage if they cast active skill damage. Then you're suffering skill damage. Then you can get 50% skill damage bonus. And then whenever it reaches like back to 0% to 50%, then you're also, reducing the enemy's defense and enemy's health. Interesting. It's a nice combo with Honda, actually. This investment might not be a bad idea for free-to-play, because the only thing that you're not going to benefit is this. If you're not really going to be rallying cities unless you're like an OG free-to-play and where you have already developed your T5s and your gears and everything. But this is not a bad investment for F2P in the long run, right? This is going to be a late game commander, not an early game commander. So not a bad approach for that. You can definitely run your mixed troops. I think this is not a bad commander to really get into. Perhaps you can even do a YSG with this one. You can do mixed troop with it. You can run with whatever you want with YSG in here. You can do an archer and cabs, archer and infantry. That might be something unique. I think this is a very interesting setup. I think Suleiman is definitely much better, in my opinion, than Honda. So that's only my assessment. I could be wrong. That's my own opinion. Now, I want to know what your opinion is in the comment section below. So I want to add this one last thing in here before we end the video. Think about all the defense that we've been doing. It has been mixed troops, right, with Xeno and YSS. With this 2 new commander, would it be now that, we're going to really get into the leadership commanders at this time? Because this is actually a very legitimate commander to use for rally. Then we can start doing mixed troop rally. That's gotta change, the way how we play things, because we're so strict to sending only full archers, full infantry, full cavalry. But with this new commanders, that what Lilith is doing, it is going to change the way players are gonna do it. It's going to make everything so different, because now you can just bring in whatever troops you want, and you don't gotta make no mistakes. It's kind of like going back to the beginning of Rise of Kingdoms, when people actually weren't using full specific troops. When I first started playing this game, before we made full cavalry videos, people were actually using just random units in their march. So this is definitely very interesting. Besides that, rockers, I want to know what you really think about this. What type of other combinations do you think that there's out there that you can do? Let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you again next time.